What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off the charts are showing and based off the data is suggesting. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market when it comes to CPI and also some very bullish news that came out on NIO's Twitter page. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any of these 12 free stocks could be a free NIO share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 4 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at NIO, we were down about 3.23% for the day, at least as of right now. I'm recording this a few minutes before the market closes, and overall, the market is just trading kind of sideways here and there. Now, what's very interesting about NIO is we did come down to that exact area I was talking about, $13 flat, which is where NIO filled that gap. I also mentioned that NIO could actually fall between the 13 to 12.5 range at the lowest, and I was anticipating a small bounce after we hit that, and that is exactly what happened to NIO. NIO came to $13.02, big bounce after that gap fill. And then after that, we have another gap that formed during the very beginning of the day. NIO actually came super close. I think we basically filled it. And then after that, we have been trading kind of sideways. But I am anticipating for NIO to actually continue to see somewhat of a reversal going into the next couple of days. Now, I know that this is very unexpected, but I want to talk about why I think that. So we have CPI coming out in a couple of days on October 13th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Once again, this is Thursday, and the market has a tendency of pushing up during these big CPI reports. Looking at NIO's max pain for the week, it happens to be at $14.50. Now, NIO has a tendency of actually closing relatively close to max pain. However, it's not always going to be shown very far out. So what you see on the 21st, the 28th, we don't need to worry about these yet. These tend to get adjusted as we approach the date and get closer to it. So right now, max pain for the end of the week is at $14.50. We could see NIO close around here for the week, but it also depends on CPI and other things like that. Now, when it comes to NIO's overall volume, it's actually pretty healthy. It's okay right now, very close to average. However, if we go down here, the shorts volume percentage did come up a bit at about 48%, meaning that the shorts do have some control or a lot of control over this stock. As far as the data goes, the price price ratio is dropping, showing some weakness in NIO overall. And we are seeing a very interesting comparison between NIO and the SPY, and they are heavily correlated. What else is very interesting is, let me come down right here. What else is interesting is seeing that Tuesdays actually tend to be green days for NIO historically. So I'm hoping for a green day tomorrow. And overall, the month of October to November, November tends to be a better month for markets. October tends to not be as good, but this is a midterm election year. So I'm hoping for a bit of a push up, but it does depend on CPI, right? And the last thing to really look at is the short volume percentage. We can see right here, the volume of the short interest is actually going up right here, showing that shorts are continuing to pile in to this market. So as the shorts pile in, you will see that the Nasdaq just fell to a 2-year low on Monday, which is today, led by a decline in the chip stocks. So we're really starting to see the decline in this earnings recession that we are entering. And also, what's very interesting is we're starting to see big changes occurring when it comes to the demand in this country. Now, considering that gas prices are still going up again, this is not necessarily good for consumers or the midterms. And as a result of this, we could see this have a very negative effect on many investors all over the place. So for NIO, what does this mean for us? What's going on with NIO's share price? Well, NIO had a big drop, right? $13 bounce. We're trading sideways as of right now. We're holding up a lot better than many people would have expected. So I'm anticipating that NIO could get a slight push up to the upside after this, maybe a slight push up, maybe get a refill of this gap up to that $14 level if we could actually hold 13, which I believe we likely will. And I feel this way because when you look at SPY, I mentioned to everyone, all right, if you watched my previous video, I was anticipating SPY to come down to that 356 to 358 range. So these are like the very key zones. And I anticipated that SPY would get a bounce around here. And this is where SPY got a bounce, 357.67. Now, what's important to note is the fact that if the SPY does retest this low right here, 357, we have to hold 356. If we don't hold 356, we could get a big crash all the way down to 350. So 356 to 358, very key zone. This is where we saw the SPY get a bounce. Hopefully it holds. It is looking like it likely will, because when CPI comes out, the market has a tendency of pushing up as we approach the date. So I'm hoping that SPY does push all the way back to this mid 360 level relatively soon. That's going to work in NIO's favor, because if the market does push up, it can actually help NIO push all the way back to that $14 level very, very soon. Now we do have this big gap over here. All right, so if we see NIO get a nice close above $14, it is possible for this thing to push for the gap at about 14.7. So please be on the lookout for that. As of right now, however, when it comes to the way NIO is moving, we are anticipating some more downside into this close. It's not looking as strong, but I do think we should get a slight reversal tomorrow. I'm hoping we get a big reversal. We have to hold 13 bucks to get it. If we don't hold 13, things are not going to be pretty. This thing could come down to 12.5, but so far we're holding it. So I want to keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best. For tomorrow, what am I seeing on NIO? Well, I'm predicting a move like this. I'm anticipating that tomorrow we can actually see some nice bullish price action from the markets. Might get a slight push up. There might be some shop in the very beginning, but I'm hoping that NIO pushes all the way up to about $14. I know that sounds kind of ambitious. It's very possible, though. I wouldn't necessarily rule NIO out. Then what could happen is NIO comes down a bit. We kind of cool off as the day goes on. Coming back to this 3.55 level is going to be very key for NIO, because that's previous resistance. It's going to act as support. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a nice power hour and NIO closes in the high 13s. Very possible, guys. Very, very possible. Now, we need to see NIO hold 13 bucks, get a nice push, get some nice volume for this to actually happen. If NIO doesn't see the big volume and we end up retesting that 13 range, we have to hold it. If we don't hold it, things could actually get kind of ugly. So as of right now, I'm anticipating the market to hold up, maybe show some improvement for tomorrow, approaching CPI. I'm hoping that does end up translating to NIO. As far as the macros end up going, if you look at NIO on the daily, super, super oversold, very oversold. And we know that when NIO comes to these low levels, it has a tendency of getting those big bounces. So that's what I really want to see in a stock like this. So I'm hoping that NIO does get a big bounce off 13. We are oversold here. We did fill the gap that was down at 13 bucks. But if we don't, like I said, it is possible to come down to 12.5. But as of right now, it's looking like NIO wants to hold and get a nice bounce, in my opinion. Now, another thing that's very important to note is the fact that on our MACD, RSI, and other indicators like that, we're not seeing the true confirmation of these changes just yet. So these are often kind of like lagging in a way. The RSI is still like super oversold, but the MACD doesn't show it just yet. So it's going to take some time. And I'm hoping that we do see some more momentum come in. Overall, the volume is actually higher than before, higher than what we saw in early October towards the end of November. I'm sorry, the end of September. So I'm hoping that this volume does end up turning around and working in our favor. So let's just wait and see how it goes. Also, CPI coming out on Thursday is going to be very telling. So please be more optimistic and do what you have to do. We could go either way, so I went over support and resistance levels. But like I said, I'm anticipating a slight push up tomorrow. That's my prediction. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. And I'll definitely see you guys in the next video. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is bright. And peace out.